Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're gonna create this section title animation using Framer's scroll variant capabilities. As we scroll down, each section's title and the ticker with the section's icon appears with an amazing transform, and when we scroll further, they leave their place to the new title elements, opening space with a nice 3D flip animation. You can find the links for both started and finished files in the description below, so let's get started. The most important pre-made elements in this tutorial are gathered under titles frame, which is going to include our title component with a fixed position. I prepared also the backgrounds for title and ticker elements, and of course the title text itself. I also included sections as components, since preparing them beforehand was not going to exclude anything that I need to demonstrate in this tutorial. Before starting to create the title component, first I'm gonna add ticker component from the insert menu. Then I will resize it perfectly to make its size fit to boundaries of the ticker wrapper frame. I'm gonna connect it to the icon on the left, and I will change ticker's settings, making its speed 20% and gap 1. Let's preview, and we can see our ticker works perfectly, right? Looks like everything's ready for our title component. And in the component screen, first I will select material component and clicking its name on the right panel, I'm gonna create a variable and name it icon name. The second variable we need is the text, right? So after selecting it, I will click content on the right panel to assign its value to a plain text variable. Now we can create the other variants for the title component. Since this primary one is going to be active state of our component, I'm gonna rename it active. And to keep the animation continuous, instead of creating a loop like we're rewinding the loop, we need two more states, right? Before and after the active. First, I will create the before state. So adding another variant, I'm gonna rename it before. In order the elements to appear with a nice animation, we're gonna start transforming the elements in the before state. So after selecting ticker wrapper, I'll enter 10 for its scale, minus for its Y, and minus 180 for its Z rotation. Then I will select title BG and make its scale 5, Y rotation 270, and Z minus 180. For the after state, since we want a simple flip after our title elements appear, we're gonna duplicate the active variant, rename it after, select ticker wrapper, and enter 90 for its Y rotation. Select title BG and make its Y rotation minus 90. So basically we're flipping them in the opposite directions to create space for the next title's rotations while keeping the whole animation continuous and appealing. To quickly test our animation, we can go to home screen, make our title components variant before, and add a scroll variant effect to it. Making trigger section view, viewport center, section is gonna be 1 and 2 is gonna be active. Let's preview. And our animation looks too fast, right? So after going to title component screen, while the primary active variant is selected, clicking spring next to transition on the right panel, I'm going to make time 1.5 seconds. Let's go back to home screen and check it. And it looks much better, right? Since this scroll variant effect was for test purposes, we can remove it and create our titles component, right? In the component screen, we can start creating all of our titles, and thanks to our layered component structure, quickly change the content and variants of them. So I will rename the title as T1, since it's gonna be our first title. Now that we have all the titles we need, we can start creating other variants. So I will add a new variant, name it variant 1, 2, since this is gonna be the variant for our first title. And I'm gonna make T1 active in this variant. For the second title, I'm gonna duplicate variant 1, 2, rename it variant 2, set T1's variant to after in this variant, since we needed to exit the screen with the determined animation while we're making T2 active in this variant. Again, layered component structure or inheriting elements as components in a bigger component makes it easier to switch between states or variants, right? Without needing to enter some complex transform etc. values in each variant. Now we can select T2 in primary variant and make its icon analytics and its title analyze. For the third title, I will duplicate variant 2, rename variant 3, select T2 and set its variant to after, select T3 and make it active, since this is the variant for our third title. Again, to change its content, I will select T3 under the primary variant and make its icon compare. And its title also compare. I'll repeat these steps for the last title. Now we can add the scroll variant effect to our component, since we have all the titles we need. So after going back to home screen, I will add scroll variant effect to our titles component and make trigger section in view, viewport center, section 1, and to variant 1, 2, add another section, select section 2 for variant 2, 3 for 3, and 4. I'm gonna add another section, select footer, and select variant 1 for a nice outro animation when we reach to the very bottom. Let's preview, and we can see each section's title is triggered by its appearance as we want, while the previous one exits with a nice flip animation. But when we scroll down to the very bottom, our title elements disappear, getting rotated in the opposite direction. Although we can leave it like this, I think making them flip the same way as the previous titles would look much better. So I'll go to the titles component screen, duplicate variant 4, name it variant 5, select T4 and make its variant after. Now we can go back and under the scroll variant effect settings, for the footer section, we can select variant 5 to be triggered and preview again. Now we can see when we scroll down to the footer, our title elements exit the screen matching the previous ones, right? Which completes our animation in a much better way. I hope you liked the tutorial. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, check my other tutorials, and see you in the next one.